So a female client that wants to lose weight, typically what she starts with is how many calories a day she thinks she's eating. And it's typically going to be, again, throwing some round numbers out here. Somebody will tell me that they're eating 1,200, 1,500, 1,800, 2,000 calories a day, but they're just telling me the calories. And I ask about what they're eating, and they're going to start to give me the salad, the chicken, this, that. They're telling me what they're eating. But what that doesn't tell us, again, is the macronutrients. So not all calories are created equal, and we need to know where those calories are coming from, not from the food source necessarily, but what is the macronutrient content. Okay, so we also need to know what is your basal metabolic rate. We need to know how many calories your body requires just as a baseline to stay alive. We need that number also because we need to stay above that number in order to get into a weight loss area, as long as we stay below your total expenditure for the day. We'll get into that in a minute. So if that 160-pound woman wants to lose 10 pounds as a starting point, we need to look at how many grams of protein. So we're going to say 150 to start. Okay, now in order to balance out our macronutrients, we need to then determine if I'm going to take in 150 grams of protein, then my carbohydrate intake needs to be equal to or less than my protein. So we'd be looking at about 150 grams of carbs, C-A-R-B-S, 150 grams of carbs or less. And then for our fat intake, we want approximately 40 grams, or excuse me, 40% of our total protein intake. All right, so we want to be at about 40% fat intake, which is going to be about 60 grams of fat. So when we start to math this out, here's what it's going to look like. So 4 calories per gram of protein, so we're looking at 600 calories. And then we're looking at, again, 4 calories per gram of carbohydrates, so we'd be looking at 600 calories or less. So 9 grams of protein, 9 calories per gram of fat, so 540. So about a third of our calories, roughly, coming from each of those macronutrients. So when we're looking at this, 4, 12, 1,740 calories for the day, with 150 grams of protein, 150 grams of carbs or less, and approximately 60 grams of fat. So now we are making sure that if we look at our basal metabolic rate for this average woman, if it is roughly 1,500 calories per day, all right, hold on. So if our BMR is 1,500 to 1,600, depending on the person, our intake is approximately 1,740. Then our output needs to be above this. How do we do that? Well, the 250 to 300, 400 calories that you burn per day during a workout are part of the total calories for the day. So this is what your body burns just to stay alive. This is what you're consuming. Every step you take, every breath you take, every step you take, I'll be watching you. You are looking at increasing that output as much as possible, and that output comes from walking the dog, it comes from pushing a vacuum cleaner, it comes from walking up and down the aisle at the grocery store. Every bit of activity accumulates throughout the day to increase that total output, including your workout, but everything else is also added to that. So if your daily output at this point is at 2,000 calories or above, all right, then your intake is less than your output, but your intake is above your basal metabolic rate. You are in an area of fat loss, so your body should begin to start losing weight. Okay, this takes time. It didn't go on overnight. It won't come off overnight. It is coming off at a slow and steady rate. That's what we're looking for, because that's going to be healthy. All right. Hopefully this explains why I care about the macronutrients. I don't care so much about the total calories without knowing what the macronutrient content is, because that's going to tell us where those calories are coming from, and that's going to help us make some better decisions. I hope this helps. There'll be more information coming out. Stick around, like, share, and subscribe, and we will continue to try and educate.